Show for you tonight. Big show. I'm your host, King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And Jake Paul just called out Dana White again. He's calling him out on multiple fronts. If you guys are familiar with their past beef, Jake Paul even made a song about Dana. He made some crazy allegations in that song. We're not going to get into that song tonight because he's got some new allegations, guys. Jake Paul is absolutely going in on Dana White and what it means to MMA, what it means to you as the viewer, what it means to you as a martial artist, what it means to you as anyone who knows anybody in the sport, and how we can all benefit, guys. Some stuff everybody's missing. We're going to get into it right now. Also, we're going to talk about how this plays into the Sean Strickland saga, where Sean Strickland was banned from the UFC White House card. We're also going to get into the political implications of the Josh Hokett and DC beef. Even though I have removed myself from politics completely, it all ties together. When you guys see how we're going to all tie this together, and then if we have time, I saw some crazy stuff about us being on a globe or not, guys, and then how that ties into aliens. We're going to get a little weird. So if you guys want to stick around to the end, we're going to get weird together. Make sure you hit the actual like button, because I guess that helps the algo. And here's what we should do. Only subscribe if you believe in truth. Like if truth matters. If you believe that people should just agree with you, then don't subscribe. So for instance, free speech is important. Even if you disagree with it, then you should subscribe. We should censor people we don't agree with because we don't like their viewpoints. You should not subscribe. If you are like somebody that would hear the phrase like, hey man, I think dragons might have existed, like, you should probably subscribe. If you go, there's no way that's impossible, I don't even want to hear about it, then you should probably not subscribe, okay? So that's kind of like the dividing line on who this channel's for and who it's not for. I'm only interested in connecting with real ones. So if you're a real one, subscribe. And if you're on some bullshit and you don't want to hear the truth on it, and I'm open to the truth too. If I'm way off on something, guys, hop in the chat, let me know. Speaking of the chat, I just dropped the Real One shirts in the chat, and make sure you tell your coach to go to Studio Millions. Studio Millions will pack their gym with students who stay, pay, and refer, and your coach will love you for it. We got R Upon the Dawn in the chat. Let's go. We are live. We got Real Ones in the chat. Holla. Free Sean. Yeah, free Sean Strickland, man. Even if you disagree with the guy, he has a right to speak. And he showed up to the press event for the fan event, and they fucking arrested the guy. That's crazy, guys. That is crazy. And then also Dana White spoke out about Josh Hokett's disgusting remarks about Obama's wife. We're going to get into that. And yeah, Hokett is in an interesting situation because Hokett's playing a dangerous game right now. And I don't mean insulting political figures. I mean, he's playing a game between getting a ton of attention on himself, but then also getting negative attention from decision makers. So if Dana White really didn't like what Hokett said, that could affect Hokett's career. I'm going to take a sip of this caffeinated beverage. This puts me at 768 milligrams for the day. So we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We like caffeine and we like combat. It's only 10 at night. The night is still young. So anyway, first things first, Jake Paul went in, and there's ongoing beef here. But the most recent updates is that Jake Paul is claiming certain numbers for the MVP on Netflix card, and he's claiming certain numbers for the women's boxing that they do, because he has an entire league of women's boxers, and they have all women's boxing shows. And so he's trying to help women's sports. Shout out to Jake. I think I have a understanding of what he may be doing, which is he understands that women's sports are kind of trend, like the discussion around women's sports is trending. So if he pays women a lot to box, he also sees that in the UFC, the women's fights do really well. So he's discovered a unique lane that even if nobody wants to watch the WNBA, people will tune in to see two women fight. So fighting is universal. basketball is not universal. So when you try and have women playing a sport not as well as the men play it, nobody kind of really wants to see that. But when it's woman versus woman in a fight, people want to see it. So Jake has discovered that he can get a lot of quality press, a lot of good media, a lot of people saying that he's doing the right thing, a lot of positive energy in his direction by promoting women's boxing. And then positioning himself and his company as like freedom fighters. Hey, we pay fighters more. We're doing all this stuff for women's sports. We're turning women boxers into millionaires. Dana White is oppressing his fighters. Dana White, and so what they're arguing about right now is two things. One is that Dana said that obviously the $7.7 billion deal was a big deal in an interview recently, and that the NFL, the NBA, and all these other sports leagues are what? There was $7.7 billion out there to be had, and we didn't get it. Somebody got that. That money was available, and we could have got it, and we didn't get it. So he says that these big sport leagues are going to be like scrambling now. Like, oh shit, how did we not see that there was this money available? So then Jake took this, twisted it, and fired back at him because in a recent interview, Dana had also said, "What do you expect us to do? Pay fighters as much as the WNBA pays its women? Like that's crazy, right?" So now he's saying that his sport, the UFC, is competing with the NFL and the NBA, Major League Baseball, the top sports in the world, but they don't have the money to pay the fighters the same as WNBA. So now Jake's coming in and saying like anything you say can and will be used against you. He's using Dana's own words against him. So he blasted Dana on that, which, hey man, I want to see the fighters get paid fucking well. Let's fucking go. And what I believe we should do in MMA is, let's say whatever sports league is a major sports league between the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball, maybe even the NHL, right? What percentage does the lowest paying sport pay? So let's say one sport pays 50% of its profits to the players, another pays 45, and another pays 33. I'd like to see the UFC meet the lowest number. I think that would be dope. I also understand Dana White's running a fucking business, and they're not here to hand out fucking money for free, right? I think it would be a good look, but then again, I don't own a $7 billion brand, so there's probably a lot of moving parts that I don't see because I believe oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. So I'm over here talking shit with limited information, like, oh, pay them 33% of fucking profit or revenue or whatever, you know? And even then, I don't need, like, that's what I'm saying. Oh, is the NFL paying 50% of revenue to the players, or they're paying 50% of profit? So either way, whatever the lowest of the big sports is, I would like to see the UFC match that. That'd be dope, right? With my limited amount of knowledge. So Jake's going in on him. Jake's paying the fighters well. And now we got Conor coming back. Conor's getting paid better than anybody. But Conor also says that Conor, not only is he getting paid like 4 to 5 times more than any fighter in MMA history, he's also the most underpaid fighter in MMA history. He said, so he's in a weird position. Now, I believe what they're doing with Conor is they are giving Conor a return fight against Max Holloway to gauge where he's at. If he smokes Max or looks good or is impressive, then they're going to roll out the fucking Brinks truck for Conor. If not, they're going to keep him on ice for another year, let him fight April of next year, 2027, and then they're going to just let him fight his contract out. Or they're going to give him a way, way worse contract than they would have if he looks good. So Jake also went in on the numbers because the White House card just dropped. Now, some reports are saying that the White House card got 7 million viewers in the US. Now, the other number that's coming out is 17 million viewers. Some people are saying that that's worldwide numbers. The UFC is claiming that those 17 million are US numbers, from what I can tell as of right now. Now, Nikisa, who's Jake Paul's business partner, he's saying that the 17 number is real, and he's comparing it to the 3 million viewers that he alleges the women's boxing card got. So he's saying, hey, compared to the biggest fight in MMA history, we're already doing 3 million viewers. So we're doing well for just starting off with women's boxing. Now, here's where it gets crazy. He's saying 17 million. in the same breath, Jake Paul's putting up memes that say the UFC only got 7 million viewers and that Netflix got 9.3 million in the United States. So what numbers are we talking about, guys? That's what I'm saying. Like, all these numbers are getting manipulated, which leads me into Strickland. Because Strickland, listen, he's got a lot of hot takes right now. If you go to his Twitter, he's going in on a whole line of questioning, right? He's got a certain viewpoint now, but a year ago he didn't have that certain viewpoint. So when our mutual teammate at Extreme Couture, his name's Jake, Jake has a podcast where he's very critical of the same people. Strickland thought Jake was nuts. Well, now Strickland's come over to Jake's way of thinking. And so what I'm saying is this: everybody's arguing about shit, but we don't have accurate information by any stretch of the imagination. So that's why I popped out of politics, because I was like getting my political information from like fucking Instagram and shit. You know what I mean? I don't know shit about it, and I'm over here like riling people up in post-fight speeches, getting people popping off, going viral. Andrew Tate's retweeting me. I got people fighting in the comment section. I got people from Conor McGregor's Mac Life retweeting me. I've got articles being written about me. All this crazy shit's popping off. And I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? So then Hokit comes out and pops off on Michelle Obama. DC fires back at Hokit and is like, bro, that's lame as fuck. Don't even do that. You shouldn't do that. DC doesn't even know that that's a theory about what Hokit's saying. He thinks Hokit's just making up shit. Like, Hokit just had this idea this would be funny to say with no backing behind him. So the reason why I want to talk about all this is because I've noticed a trend lately, guys. If you ever are at an event, a party, a get together, you're at the gym after practice, there's a lot of people sitting around, and you want to pop off the combo, bring up the fact that some people say the earth is not a globe. Just say that, guys. Say that. Say that there may be something flat about it. And whether you believe it or not, you don't have to say that you believe it, but you will get so many people I can't even believe that people get so fired up about it. People get fucking lit over the fact that you even suggest that people think this. Now, here's the craziest part that I've noticed. Now, I obviously believe we're on a globe, but I have noticed that the people that think things are flat have looked into both sides of the argument. And 99.99999% of the people that say we're on a ball, they have not looked into the other side at all. At all, and nor will they. And they just know. They believe in science. And I'm like, well, what science? And they're like, listen, it's a fact, bro. And I'm like, I'm not saying that it's not real. I'm just saying you're coming to your conclusion without looking at the other argument. And there's an entire school of philosophical and psychological thought that says if you cannot articulate your adversary's point as well or better than they can, then you don't understand the argument that you're in. And I feel like we got a lot of that going on right now. We got people saying that the UFOs, that the government is disclosing UFOs. They're disclosing aliens. Well, somebody's lying, because just a couple weeks ago, they said that doesn't exist. So were they lying then or are they lying now? You get what I'm saying? Somebody's lying. Either it's 7 million or it's 17 million. Somebody's lying. Who's lying about the numbers? So these people are getting into these arguments and they're trying to put propaganda up. So if the only thing you saw was Jake Paul's numbers, you would think that the UFC is not doing as well as Jake Paul. And if you saw the UFC's version, they're beating Jake Paul. But like, what's the actual information? Because all this shit is like US viewers, worldwide viewers. What's considered a viewer is 1 minute of watch time. Well, if you go to anyone who watched it, and then you go to a subsegment of people who watched it in America for a minute, And then you go to like, well, what's the average viewership over time? Well, like, so now we can twist the numbers to make them anything we fucking want. Here's how I'm determining which was the bigger show. I've got people who are not into MMA talking to me about the White House card, like frequently. In the MMA community, a lot of people were talking about the Netflix card. I'm under the belief now that a lot of people at the gym were talking about the Netflix card because they see an opportunity for money. Now, outside of the MMA community, not too many people were talking about fucking Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. And maybe they did internationally or something like that, right? But there's been very few times where I see people who don't know shit about MMA really asking questions or talking or bringing up the subject, like ever. Sometimes it's when Conor fights. This was an example of that, where the UFC White House card, people were asking about it in advance, and then afterwards, people were still fucking talking about it. There were literally people, you could see videos online of like after the event, people were like emotional and like hugging, like strangers hugging in DC because the event was that impactful. So, in my estimation, as an outside observer, without knowing the real numbers, because everybody's got a different set of numbers, we can only go by the evidence which we experience. And to me, the White House card was the biggest event in MMA history. So, anyways, let me check the chat real quick. Not one female fighter Jake has promoted has had anything bad about how much they got paid. Yeah, so he's turning some of those girls into multimillionaires where they were not millionaires before. So it's like, dude, Jake in that regard is changing people's lives. And some of those girls had no other options. They were already the champion. And then it's like they're going to go fight again. I don't know what they're getting paid, 50 G's, 50 G's this fight, 100 G's that fight. So they got to fight 10 times to get a mill. That's wild. That's wild. And then Jake brings them in and Jake's like, "Oh, we're going to do this. 7 figures." Now, the coldest part about this is this is what Jake understands that a lot of people don't understand. Is that there's 2 forms of marketing. Like you can run ads and do social and do all, or you can do something like pay a female fighter $1 million, promote that on your social for free, and let all the news media, let all the reaction videos, let all the commentators, let all the talking heads talk about it. Like I'm talking about it right now. We're giving Jake free promo, you know? And so instead of investing $1 million into ads, hey, the MVP women's card is coming up next or whatever, you know what I mean? Billboards and all kinds of shit. He's doing a different way. He's giving the money to the fighters and then using that as PR. And he could do an actual PR, which is press release. He could do a press release about it, or he could, I mean, he's not doing a press release. He just says it on his Instagram, and then every boxing and MMA channel picks it up, right? And so because he's done something noteworthy, he set a record. He's paid a female fighter more than anybody in boxing history. Now that's newsworthy. And so he's getting all this media, all this press, all these retweets, all these shares because he invested $1 million into the fighter instead of into an ad. Right. And so that to me is like a little bit of Jake's genius. Also, I feel like the UFC has that same thing going on, but instead of kind of investing into the fighters, it was more so with the UFC being at the White House was so newsworthy that they probably got they couldn't have paid for that much advertisement. It would have been like $1 billion. But CNN was reporting on it. And I'm not saying CNN is the biggest news organization right now because it's been overtaken, right? Like by social media. So the biggest figures in politics are talking about it on social media as well. The biggest figures in pop culture are talking about it. The biggest influencers are talking about it. All that media is because they did something other than advertise. Does that make sense? So I find that fascinating, right? Like, where are opportunities that these two promotions can get eyeballs without directly buying ads? It would be dope if the UFC saw what Jake is doing and was like, you know what we're going to do? Let's say that it's Connor, right? We're going to pay Connor a record amount for an MMA fight. And then that's going to be news. And then because that news, it brings like a grandiose energy to the event. So the same way the White House was like, oh my gosh, this is at the White House. This is the biggest money MMA fight in history with Conor McGregor, something crazy like that. That would be epic, right? Use the money in that way. I'd like to see that. But yeah, so I believe Conor's going to win. And I believe Conor's next fight after that, they're going to renew his contract. And they could use that opportunity to publicly promote how much they're paying him as the best paid fighter ever. And then they could counterbalance the narrative that they don't pay fighters well, right? Now, would I like to see the fighters on the bottom of the card get a raise? Yeah, man, pay him 100 G's a year, at least, right? The WNBA, I heard it's like $345,000 for a chick to warm the bench. Now, should the UFC pay that? I'm sure they could. But let's start with 100 bands a year. If you're in the UFC, you make six figures. That'd be pretty cool, right? Instead of a dude having to be a fucking plumber on the side. Plus, the more money, and this is going to happen over time. I just want it to happen faster. But over time, we're going to get better and better athletes, more and more money. And the more and more money that comes in, the better the athletes are going to be. And then it's going to turn into like a cycle, right? At some point, they're going to end up paying the same way that the NFL, the NBA, and the MLB do, which is a percentage of profits or revenue. And at that point, we're going to get the best athletes on the planet who want to fight MMA because then it's going to be prestigious. I can go fight one time for $100 million. Fuck yeah, I'll go do that. And when they start doing that, that's when the people who have options pull up. Because right now, if you could be like an actual NFL star and make $100 million, yeah, you got to play a lot of games. Yeah, you got to travel a lot. Yeah, you might get hit in the head with a helmet or whatever, right? But if you can make $100 million per fight in the UFC, and you're a star, and you don't have to wear a helmet, and your face is out there, and you're on the, you know what I mean? Then now we're talking. Now it's gotten allure. Now it's attractive. So that's where I see the sport going in the near future. And I also believe that as messy as the Jake Paul versus Dana White beef is, and Jake makes it messy intentionally, and some would say that he's really smart for doing it that way, like his song and everything, and he's shameless with it, right? But I believe he's going to be a catalyst to get all fighters paid more because he's really going in on that. He really wants to be the dude where they have to either pay the fighters more, or he's going to keep getting free publicity by saying Dana doesn't pay the fighters, Dana doesn't pay the fighters, Dana doesn't pay the fighters. And every time he says that, the media outlets jump on that because that narrative gets them views. Oh, fighter pay, right? And so he understands he can get publicity by paying the fighters better and then blasting the biggest promotion in the world for not paying the fighters. And now he looks like the good guy. He gets good PR and he gets more fucking eyeballs, clicks, and media attention just by paying a little bit more and then put them on blast, right? So if they up their ante and paid more, they can actually force him out of the market because the current situation is they haven't been renewed on Netflix. So unless they get renewed at this current price point that they're paying, and Dana could shove them out because he could make it so financially not viable for them that they don't see what's the point, right? So anyway, John Hogan says, hi, everyone, wavy emoji. What's up? John Hogan in the building. Let's freaking go. Yeah, man, speaking of Hogan, I'm working on the Hulk Hogan video. Well, I'm going to talk about, I'm Hulk Hogan's nephew. Here's 3 things about Donald Trump and Hulk Hogan's friendship that no one knows. And yeah, I got some interesting stuff, man. I got some really cool stuff that nobody knows. And dude, oh my gosh, I want to drop it so bad. But I've told myself that I'm going to use this new software I got on the computer. So I'm going to make that video using this It's a bunch of nerdy shit that, is neither here nor there. But yeah, that video is going to drop soon. The Hulk Hogan, Donald Trump connection video. And it's not even like a political thing, really. It's or anything like that. It's not. It's just fucking really cool story. So if you're into nostalgia, if you're into WWE, if you are a Hulk Hogan fan, you will get a kick out of it. And if you fuck with Trump, or even one of them, one of the three is a cool story that both Trump supporters and Trump haters you'll enjoy it. It's interesting, man. I'm happy to make this video. We got my guy Tycoon Troy. What's that? 5'9" or 6'9". My dude. Hey, upset that I missed out on the chat when you dropped Dragon Disclosure last video. Yeah, bro. So I was talking about that's like a good metric on whether you should subscribe or not. Like if someone's watching and they will not accept someone else who believes dragons are real, you're probably not going to like the channel, right? Because we stay open-minded around here. Like we're open to possibilities around here. If someone goes, hey man, I believe dragons are real. You know what I say? I say, interesting. Tell me more. Oh, really? And then they go on, did you know that the dinosaur bones? And you're like, what? And then you go, yeah, man, did you know that? Da, 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 da? Oh, what? Huh? Oh shit. Wait, if you take a picture of a T-Rex, if it's skeleton and then you add wings, then it looks like a dragon. Like, you know what? And then I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, that's interesting to me. So if someone is like, no, that can't be true. They didn't teach me that in school. Then like, just don't subscribe. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of what we were getting into in the other video. I'm friends with Trump. I was Trump Taj Mahal opening day as his guest. Trump was a good host at the NJ Taj Mahal. Good times at the Taj Mahal Casino. Yeah, man. Everybody that knows Trump personally is like, dude, it's ultra charming, super nice. Couldn't be nicer, kind to you in person, takes his time. Like everybody I've met who knows Trump says very high things about. And these are people, some of them don't even fuck with him politically. Right? They didn't vote for the dude. And they're like, hey, man, listen, I don't agree with his politics, but I know him personally. Dude, he's a real one, bro. He's a real one. My first bare knuckle fight was the Taj Mahal. Oh, shit, we doing bare knuckle? Bare knuckle's so sketchy, man. When I was cornering Felony and Knuckle Mania, and even before then, dude, I've cornered my other teammate, Jordan Christensen. He's got Thug Life tattooed on him. White dude with Thug Life on his stomach. And dude, that was the sketchiest thing I've ever seen in person that was a sanctioned event. Like, obviously, street fights are sketchy. I've been in a street fight where somebody was running at me with a fucking knife. My friend got stabbed. Well, that's the story for another time. War Machine was there, but before he went crazy. Well, this story. I haven't really told this story too many times publicly. I don't think I've ever really gone into detail too much about it. But before War Machine went crazy, like he was getting progressively crazier. And if you guys look up War Machine, it's a horrible story. He was dating a porn star. He attacked. It's horrible. But he was also on the Ultimate Fighter. He was really popular fighter at the time, and he went off the deep end, right? But there were like signs leading up to it that he was getting deeper and deeper off the deep end. You know what I mean? And we ended up getting to a street fight one time, and some dude pulled a knife. It was fucking sketchy. But the sketchiest thing I've seen that's sanctioned was bare knuckle, especially if you're either. So there's two things that are sketchy about bare knuckle: being in the back and seeing even the dudes that win coming in the back and they're cut up or their hands are broken or everybody's fucked up in the back. And then the other thing that's sketchy is if you go out and watch in the seats, these dudes are fucking swinging on each other. And then if there's like a 2-second dull in the action, the crowd will start like booing and calling them pussies. And I'm like, dude, these guys are playing high stakes, high risk, slang them fucking things at each other, bro. 100 miles an hour, bone on bone. Dudes are getting cut. Man, it's brutal, right? It's freaking brutal. The Scots have taken over Boston. Hamza says these Europeans are going to take over Nevada and Arizona by next week. Crazy. I know it's off topic, but then realizing how great we are and the media lying about us didn't work. Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. So is this like breaking right now? Is this like breaking news? That what's going on? People are coming to visit America or they're moving here or like what's popping off? I literally just got off. Oh, World Cup fans. Okay, okay, okay. The World Cup fans, man. What do they call them? What my boy say? He was like, lawn fairies or something. What he said? He said something crazy like that. I was like, man, dang not. My boy actually played soccer professionally. His name was Hercules Gomez, and I cornered his brother. Who his brother? He and myself and Ulysses Gomez were like dear friends for like a decade. We're still friendly, but like we just our life passed two different paths. But yeah, so I was dear friends with Ulysses Gomez. Like me and him lived together at Ulysses' mom's house, and I cornered Ulysses in the UFC. And Ulysses' older brother was Hercules Gomez, and I believe he played internationally, like for like a world team. You know what I mean? I'm not into soccer, so I didn't know. I just know that he played in Denver for a while, and then he played, I believe, for like Mexico. His brother is an MMA fighter. Yeah, whatever. So this is what I'm saying. I don't know shit about soccer, football, whatever, right? Like whatever level he played at seemed like very high level to me. I thought he was a world level competitor at one point. That was my understanding. I could be way the fuck off. I know Hercules too. I don't watch soccer either. Yeah. So uh what do they say? What do they say? Uh every other sport plays with one ball, fighting takes two. Let's fucking go, guys. Yeah, so I have a very limited expertise, which is martial arts, and almost anything outside of that, if it's not like some crazy like dinosaurs and dragons and aliens and you know, or like really hypothetical philosophy, like the ship of Theseus. You know what I mean? Where it's like a thought experiment on, hey, if you have a wooden ship and you replace one board and all the other 10,000 boards are still the same, is it the same ship? Okay. What if you change the name of the ship? Is it still the same ship, but you haven't replaced any boards? Okay. What if you replace two boards? What if you replace 30% of the boards? What if you replace half the boards? What if you replace 75% of the boards? Is it still the same ship? What if you change the name and replace 30%? What if you replace 99% of the boards? What if you replace them slowly over time? What if you replace one board today and then in 6 months you replace a different board and then over time you've replaced every board in the ship and it's completely different boards than the original? Is it still the same ship? What makes a ship a ship? You know what I'm saying? So I get deep into that type of shit like surprisingly frequently. And I also get very deep into uh like if it were up to me, I would just train. And this is kind of actually what I do, right? I train martial arts all fucking day. And then I listen to like alien podcasts and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then I talk to my genius girlfriend about all kinds of like what was the thing that she and I were discussing most recently? It was like she's never seen Batman, the movie, you know? And I'm like, well, the interesting part about Batman is because it plays on what is good. Like, let's say Batman won't, and let's say for the sake of this particular Batman movie, Batman won't kill someone. Like, he won't kill the Joker. And the Joker is like, hey, you have to kill me in order to save those people over there. Now, the Batman is in a moral dilemma because he wants to save those people. That's the right thing to do. But because he's lawful good, let's say, for the sake of this argument, I know he's not actual by definition lawful good, but I'm just saying for this exact scene or whatever, that he's not going to break that code. He's not going to kill the Joker because that's what the Joker wants. The Joker wants to turn him into a killer. So then, like, what's the definition of good? Like, what is good? Is it saving those people by killing the Joker, or is it not saving those people by staying to your own moral structure? And not you get like so that was the most recent conversation we got into. She's writing a novel right now, and we're getting very deep into like morals, and then also like we started talking about uh, capitalism, right? And so the moral dilemma with any form of societal choice. So let's say McDonald's for an example, right? I told you we were going to get weird. I told you if you guys stay, we're going to get weird. All right. So we're getting weird now. This is the weird segment. If you guys do not want to get weird, I'm not the guy for you. All right. If you guys like getting weird, you know what I mean? We're here for it. All right. So the McDonald's, right? Let's say McDonald's, let's say this is not true. I would never say anything bad about anybody publicly that I don't have the records to back up or whatever, right? Allegedly, let's say some people would believe that their food is poison, right? It's not actual food, right? Like the beef, it's not all beef, and maybe it's like a bunch of soy in there or oats or whatever the fuck they mix it with. And then let's say there's a bunch of chemicals, and let's say hypothetically, allegedly in the bun, it's not just like flour, water, yeast, or whatever. It's got, I don't know, fucking 58 chemicals in there. And then there's added sugar in the ketchup. And it's actually not just sugar, it's high fructose corn syrup in the ketchup, right? Like all kinds of crazy shit, right? And then you go, well, they have a moral dilemma to not sell that. Right. But then they're going, hey, if we don't sell it, somebody else will. And you go, well, you could sell a healthier version. And they go, hey, here's the problem, bro. The people won't buy the healthier version. And you go, well, of course they would. They would want healthier. And you go, but no, but because the way things are set up, we need these products to have a certain shelf life. Because if they constantly go bad, then we have to charge the customer more money because we have to constantly replace them. Let's say the buns or the lettuce or whatever, right? But if we spray this fucking chemical on the lettuce stays good for like 10 times longer. The French fries never deteriorate, neither does the burger. So we can shelf this shit and we can sell it at a very low cost because that's what the client wants. And you're like, no, the client wants to be healthy. Like if the client was given the choice, hey, you can be healthy or not be healthy, of course they're going to pick healthy. But then when you add in multiple variables like cost, efficiency, like how quickly can they get it, right? Like they're on a time schedule, they're just stopping by, they're ordering, a Big Mac, fries, and a Coke, whatever, boom, they're popping out, they're eating it while they're driving on the freeway, they're getting road rage, all that, right? They got shit to do. And if you go to Farmer Boys has all natural beef, but it's like 3 times the price, and you sit in line 4 times as long. And while I'm willing to do that to get like natural beef, you know what I'm saying? Most people would not. I'm fortunate I have time freedom. I'm in this like bubble. You know what I mean? I just hang out in my backyard, right? So, anyways, we're getting to McDonald's. Now, McDonald's says some other competitor will do it. And then you go, well, then make it healthier. And you go, well, if you make it healthier, then it's going to have a shorter shelf life. And by that, we're going to have to raise the price. Therefore, people won't want it. They'll go to our competitor who does use these chemicals. So, what's McDonald's moral obligation? To give the people what they want, because this is literally what the people are voting for with their dollar, or to do something that's going to hurt their own bottom line and potentially put them out of business. And then we get into the subject of like, where does government regulation come in? And a lot of us are like, hey, man, we don't want the government and all this bullshit. Get the fuck out, right? But then there's consequences with that because now there's chemicals in the food. You get what I'm saying? So there's like all these catch 22s. So oftentimes there's things called second order consequences. So you might have a good decision on the front end, but you may not thought about the second order consequences, right? So for instance, back to MMA, Josh Hogan, hey, I'm going to call out Michelle Obama. It'll be funny and I'll align myself with the people that believe in that narrative. All good. He's free speech. Say whatever he wants. Second order consequence, Dana White didn't like it. Maybe Trump liked it because Trump had beef with Obama and he thinks it's funny. You calling his wife a dude. I like all that. But Dana White thinks it's disgusting. Dana White writes your fucking checks, bro. Dana White is the head motherfucker in charge. He can book or not book or tell Hunter or what Maynard or whatever matchmaker it is. Hey, man, let the guy cool off, man. He's popping off a little bit too much. He's getting too ahead of himself. So that's a second order consequence that could potentially happen. So while he has a loyal fan base and may have gotten the affection and the fucking admiration and the fucking alignment of the president, now the thing that got him there, which is fighting in the UFC, may be slowed down to put him on ice for a bit to let him cool off and think about what he did. And I'm not saying I agree with either way. I'm saying as an outside observer, pretending I'm an alien that's coming down from outer space with no bias and just observing, hey, here's what he did on the front end, and here's the second order consequence. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's second order consequences, guys. Let me read the chat. Okay. Hercules played for the national team. Oh, so he played for America? I know. Cheap beef for you and organic. Let me send you the link. Oh, what? You talking organic beef? You talking that grass-fed joint? Bro, okay, so at Sprouts, used to be able to get raw milk and raw kefir, and they would sell them as pet food toppers in Nevada. You can get them in California. In California, you could buy it, right? California, they got some pluses and some minuses, guys. Maybe don't go to LA, but if you're in San Diego and you're in Ocean Beach, maybe you stop by People's Market and you get raw kefir, okay? That's a plus. So I like that. I like drinking raw dairy. I like organic raw dairy. I feel like I can walk through fucking walls. And now I gotta find like a organic local farm somewhere within like 100 miles of me to go get it, or I got to order it online or something. Because for whatever reason, Nevada, I guess they banned it, so they can't even sell it as pet topper. If you guys happen to know where to get it in Nevada, let me know. Maybe I'll do a Google search tonight or talk to Grok about it. You know, talk to the AI. The AI never disagrees with me. The AI understands me, man. The AI always listens. AI never gets mad at me. No, I'm just playing. I'm fucking my guys. But like for real, man. So one thing I like to do is program the AI I'm talking to in advance. So if you go into your settings on whatever you talk to ChatGPT or Grok or whatever the fuck, you can go to the settings and you can give it like a way of interacting with you where, for instance, you might go, hey, be based, right? Talk about actual factual data based on numbers, not emotions. Always respond to me with logic instead of trying to tell me what you think I want to hear. Don't just agree with me and don't just disagree with me. Actually, give me the correct answer that I'm asking for instead of going, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Cat aquariums. Oh, yeah, totally cool. You're mixing the best of both worlds. You got this, right? No, say, hey, nobody wants to buy a cat aquarium. If you're into cats or aquariums, here's different ideas. Let's brainstorm together, right? So you can program the AI so that you don't have to write a whole prompt every time. Hey, pretend you're da 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 da, and you're giving me accurate information. You could just set it in the setting. Anyways, you know what I'm saying? I hope that helps somebody, right? So my boy, he's on a weight loss journey, and I'm proud of him, man. He's losing weight. And he's got Chat GPT cussing at him and all kinds of shit because he's like, be a harsh personal trainer. That's his setting for all of his interaction. He's like, never cupcake me, never baby me, always be harsh, push me, yell at me. And if I'm fucking asking stupid questions, check me. And so now he's lost like 15 fucking pounds. Because he programmed the AI to not let him off the hook instead of like, oh, everybody needs a cheat meal once in a while. Have yourself a cookie. No, it's like, hey, bro, you fucking baby, bro. You can't control yourself. You need a fucking cookie, dog. You need a cookie. You told me you want abs. You fucking bullshitting, or you a fucking man, bro. You're gonna fucking do what you say you're gonna do, man. Fucking stop asking me about cookies. Do some fucking push-ups. That's how his AI talks to him. Which, hey, some people might say it's extreme. I'm happy for the dude. If that's what's helping him get results, then shit. All right. But, anyways, some form of that is usually helpful to most people. Let me read this. Uh, get some cheap meat for your whole year. Got to get some of that horse beef Alistair was talking about. Bro, he's on that fucking horse meat diet. Dude. So that's what I'm saying, man. We're adults. And Alistair Overeem had to tell the public that he ate horse meat. And that's why he was 265 pounds with abs and fucking traps up to here and shoulders out to here because he ate horse meat. That's what I'm saying. We're playing fucking child's games. And for some reason, we have like this Overton window in society where like talking about steroids is completely unacceptable. And it's probably due to the laws in this country, which, let's be real, we were just talking about moral obligations and second order consequences. So let's say hypothetically the government got the fuck out of the way. And we're like, hey man, we're not going to tell adults what to do. Steroids are now legal in America. Well, then every fucking fighter, every NFL, everybody's going to like openly do steroids. And then we're going to have these governing bodies like the NFL or USADA back when, or whatever they have now in the UFC, trying to catch everybody, and then half the roster is going to pop, or they don't test at all. But then it's like, why are they testing if it's legal now? So then we're going to hold on to the old metric of what we should do or shouldn't do, even though it's legal now, bro. And then it's like, oh, well, we have this like legacy program where we say steroids are bad. And then, you know what I mean? Then we get into like who decides. And I did a live previously about the function of religion outside of being quote unquote religious. And this was not obviously the title of the live, right? You know, after the point of the weirdness, then we started getting weird. And I was saying that instead of looking at like for this example, I'm not saying this is what I believe or what you should believe or what anybody should believe. Do you, bro? Um, what I'm saying is as a way of thinking of something that might help us understand each other and everything around us better, we could say, hey, instead of just for right now, for the next 3 minutes, instead of imagining God as a dude with a white beard in the sky hanging out in the clouds, let's imagine that God, I know, isn't a person, it's a set of rules that are senior to human opinion. So if I'm arguing with somebody and I'm like, hey, man, maybe legalize steroids so Alistair Overeem doesn't have to tell grown adults that he's ingested horse meat, and we're supposed to pretend like we believe that so we can all live in this lie together and move forward amicably, right? And someone else is like, yeah, but if we legalize steroids, right? But like, let's say there was a God who had forbidden or encouraged steroids. Then, because our human opinions don't matter, we default to the God, right? That's essentially one way of looking at what a religion could be used in a functional manner as. Anyways, all right. So, organized religions control people, but God is real. Interesting take. He tested positive in Japan, first K1 2010 Grand Prix. And these leftists, those are crazy people, bro. They listen, man. They probably think the same thing about you, my brother. You know what I mean? It's like let's before we start. What does the Bible say? Uh, before you before you look at the speck in your neighbor's eye, look at the plank in your eye, right? I'm pretty sure that you may not be Christian, you may be Muslim, but I don't know what the Quran says about that, but maybe they say something like that too. I don't know, you know, maybe we don't judge them, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we just let them. Why are they crazy? Because they're crazy, bro. Because they're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just shout out to them, man. And you know what? Honestly, dude, if somebody is on the wavelength of the type of person that I believe you're intending to describe there. It's like that's kind of what the Bible is, right? Like these people are away from God, and like God loves them, and like we should probably, like, I know it sounds wild, we should probably love them, and rather than like coming at them from like a they're crazy, that it's like they probably want to have good feelings and good, and they've, as a crazy, crazy, crazy out there theory that's not true, maybe they are fairly literally battling demons because they are away from their true essence and their connection to God. And that allows other entities or thoughts or beliefs to get in because they are on the human plane instead of defaulting to the spiritual God plane above them, which would be the laws that govern the universe and are spiritually true that we could, in this experiment, all default to. And then by doing that, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, you know what I'm saying? We're getting crazy, guys. All right, I love you guys. That's the end of the live. Make sure you have notifications on because I go live at random ass times. In the near future, I'm going live every day, and I'm responding to every fucking comment. Still doing that, going through. But like if we have like a thread on the comment where I've responded 10 times on that thread, sometimes I don't respond after like the 20th time. But every new comment that's coming from a genuine place, I respond to. I also, at some point, I'm going to do a reacting to stupid comments video, but that's not going to be a live. That's going to be actual video. And yeah, 'cause some of these people are cooked, man. But I still try and respond. I try. Sometimes I got to delete them, but some of them I shouldn't have even deleted because they were so stupid. But the problem is that they're so stupid, they make my fucking brain hurt. And I'm like, I start getting black pilled because I'm like, these people exist in society. How the fuck did you take that from what I said, bro? Like, I believe I'm coming from like a fairly good place. I'm not fucking perfect, but I'm trying shit. And that's what you took out of the fucking video. You twisted it, took the worst possible thing, shot that back at me on something I didn't even say implied. That's what I meant when that's the opposite of what I fucking meant. But that's you processing it through your own fucked up filters. Now you're blaming me and you're saying some stupid ass take in the comments, bro. So, anyways, I respond to every comment. And for the time being, I'm going live every day. At some point, I'm gonna phase out because so I don't okay, this is the last thing we'll talk about. I believe, and you don't have to believe this. It's okay, we can have different beliefs. I believe God rested on the seventh day. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is the seventh day, the Sabbath, Saturday, or is it Sunday? So in the future, once I have more of a concrete feeling, understanding, definition of what day that is, then I will have a video scheduled to drop on that day anyway. So it's not like I'm not putting content on 7 days, but that's going to be scheduled in advance. So on some, let's say Tuesday, I'll make 6 videos and I'll have 3 of them dropping on, let's say Saturday, because Saturday, let's say that's what I believe the Sabbath is. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, in the future, it's going to be like 6 lives a week. And then on the rest day, I'm going to have either 1 to 3 or 4 videos dropping on that day. So, anyways, that's the plan. But make sure you have notifications on because the live times go like today, it started at like 10 p.m. Usually it's 11. Sometimes it's 3 p.m. Other times 5 or 6 p.m. So if you got notifications on and you set it to all, then you get all the notifications and you pop on. And then we pop it off in the chat and we get weird together, guys. Anyways, have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.